Hello everyone, let me introduce you to my newly acquired Singer 29K15 sewing machine, sometimes referred to as a cobbler or a patcher. These were primarily made for the leather working trade and mostly for repairs. They've got one or two attributes that make them a bit special, namely this very thin bed, and they've got a walk-in foot which moves the material from the top rather than like a normal sewing machine where you've got a little wheel at the bottom. And they've also got this bit which turns, which is quite stiff on this one, but the great thing about this when it turns is the material will go in the direction that you turn it, so you can do some pretty tight stuff on these. I'm pretty sure they were primarily made for shoe repairs, boot repairs. But anyway, I paid £150 for this one on eBay, and it may be a complete donkey, I may never get it going, but I'm really hoping I can repair it and restore it, because it will be a great string to my leather working bow if I can get it working. It's only operating that far at the moment, so it's completely jammed up somewhere, somehow. Got no idea at the moment why. I mean, everything is driven from this end by this hand wheel, or you can put a treadle or a motor on it and run it off of this end. But you've got gearing mechanism that comes up here on a little rack underneath, which operates the bobbin and the shuttle, and then the actual sewing needle end and the walking foot is all driven by this end, which should be operated from this little boom arm here, which obviously isn't doing anything at the moment. So my first port of call is to get this front end off and have a look, see what's going on. It should come off quite easy. There's just 4 screws that hold this on, but I do have to disconnect it from this boom, and this pin in here looks like it's been in it since it was manufactured, and from the serial number I know that this one was manufactured somewhere late on in 1904, so this is 120 years old. As I probably said, I've always wanted, well, I wanted one for quite a long time, but they just keep getting a good example of these now, just gets really silly money. They're just getting dearer and dearer. So I thought I'd have a go at this one, this broken one, and hopefully get it up and running. Personally, I think they're getting priced ridiculously now, because they're only as good, they're a machine. And like, this one is 120 years old. It is not going to be as good as it come out of the factory. However good they were when they come out of the factory, this ain't going to be that good now. But I'm hoping to get it up somewhere near that good, if I'm lucky. Right, so the first thing I want to do then is get this pin out, and there's also a bar on the back here. I'll spin it around and show you that. So on the back here you've got this bar, which is just a spring which operates the raising and the lowering of the foot. Now I know for sure that there's a little broken bit on this metal bit that goes in here, because you can, anyway, I know it's broken from some of the stuff I've seen on the internet and some of the parts lists I've seen. How much that affects the operation of it, I'm not really that sure. I don't think it does, because this spring's all pushing down that way. This should have a little tiny bit of metal coming out over here. Hopefully I'll show you that a bit more clear when I get it to bits, but I don't think that affects the operation of it that much. But this spring should come out quite easy. This screw here is this is loose still, and that's it, that's out. First bit out. But now I've got to get this pin out, and I am a little bit concerned about that. I'm pretty sure this arm is cast. I don't want to go smashing about too much on it, so I'll come in closer and see how I'm going to get that out. So this is the pin I want to get out to detach the arm from the front end, what I'm going to call the front end from now on. And as you can see, it's pretty rusty. Now I'm guessing the pin's gone in from this way, been tapped in there, and should come out that way. That's my thought. I'll get a pin punch and I'll give it a light tap, but I really don't want to bash this about too hard. So I might have to come up with a little gubbins to try and take this out. There's nothing on here that indicates to me that this is a screw, so I have seen some others that I think were threaded. But I'm just going to get these little mole grips on here. That won't be tight enough. Just not enough of that to get a good grip on it with these mole grips. Yeah, that don't seem to be moving at all. Pretty sure it would have come in from this way, but I'm just going to tap it this way just to see if it loosens up or anything. No, that don't seem to be loosening it at all. Alright, so plan B, I just made this little punch come pusher. I'm going to put on there, put a little socket on this side. That one's probably alright. Yeah. Use a good G clamp and try and squeeze it out. Of course, this is going to be kind of a free-handed job, isn't it? That did it. Thought something broke then. That appears to have pushed it through. Let's see if I can pump it all the way out. Shit, where did that go? Aha, there it is. So it was just a pin. Right, well that's that out. Oh, and that comes out of the arm quite easy. Now I'll get a screwdriver and take this off. Too big. These screws were quite loose, which kind of worries me a bit that someone else has added the bits and that there. And given up on it because it's irreparable, but well, nothing's irreparable, is it? Whether it's economic to repair, that's another thing. That's it, it's away. All them screws are the same size. I suppose. Right, well all that's moving. So the problem definitely is in the front end by the look of it. The shuttle is in here, that should also be moving. And that seems to be moving alright. I don't know whether my arm was probably in the way there, but there's the shuttle which is driven along this arm, and that's moving the way it should, going backwards and forwards. So the problem is definitely in the front end. Okay, then I've got the camera over my shoulder a bit here, which sort of puts it a bit in my way. Right. That's just the foot. So that's moving all right. This is what carries the needle, and that's moving up and down all right. So is all that just fits into that, and that should just go up and down, but should this whole thing go up and down? Well, it would have to, wouldn't it? So it's no, that I'm at a bit of a loss here because I don't know what should and shouldn't be moving. I mean, this obviously moves because I'm not quite sure how it's connected to the rest of it to make it move. Well, that moves. That don't seem to be stuck to anything. Right then, don't know what's going on here. I'm just going to have to take it to bits a bit more, aren't I? So this little walking foot should just unscrew off of here. I mean, it looks like this should be moving. It looks like this should come up and down, and it's not. That's what I think at the moment anyway. Right, I'll take this foot off, see how much more I can take to bits. And that all appears to be working like that. I'm pretty sure that is what it should do. And as that's free, I don't know why it weren't working when this is the bit I was talking about earlier. You can see there's a bit broke off here. And that's it, this hole, and this rotates quite freely in here. And what was stopping it going, I wonder? All this here has got a purpose which I'm not clear on. I'm going to have to go and have a look, see what I can find on the internet. Oh, moving on, I'll put this back on because that all seems to be working alright. But as soon as you get this back into here and pinned up, it will jam. Now I don't think it's not this is moving freely. I think this should have a little bit of movement or so on it, and it's just seized up. So my next thing is to try and get that out of it. I've got the, there's an adjuster on it. I'm not quite sure how this works. I'm going to go and have a look at some of the plans. But I've got a feeling this should be loose and should move backwards and forwards a bit as this comes up. And that's why it's jammed, I think. Well, I'm learning stuff. This adjuster that goes in the back of this is just to adjust this, the amount of movement this has. That's where the cotton comes through. If you screw this right in, it just locks this up and you can get, and obviously you've got the spring that I've just took off there. But I would like to get this off. And again, I don't want to go bashing it about because it's all cast. So I'm hoping, yep, that's it. I just push that out with the mould grips. Well, I pushed it out a bit. Yep, that's out. I mean, everything is well in here, but so far so good. Everything's come out that has to. Yeah, see, that screw just goes against that and stops it moving. Well, it all needs cleaning up. But I've still got to get this out of here, out of this arm, and free it. And I'm very worried about breaking this arm, so I'd like to get the arm off, but that means getting this pin out. And that, I've given that a few taps. That does seem well in there, so I might have to make up some other sort of squeezy thing and try and push it out. I have been oiling this, hotting it up, oiling it. I'm just so scared I'll break this, but it's starting to come out now. Here it comes. Still a bit hot. That is it. That is out. So how this assembly works is this. When it's in there, that is up there with a screw. This can lock that off, and these all work together to give the tension, but this should definitely be sliding in and out. So I'll let that cool down, clean it up, try and clean this hole out a bit. It's still very hot, so I'm going to leave that for a minute and have a cup of tea. Well, this is where we're at. I've cleaned the piston up, cleaned the, I suppose you'd call it the cylinder where that goes, and just tapped the pin slightly, but it's not right in there because I'm not finished yet. But we have a working sewing machine. You can see down here where the foot, that's where the foot will be moving, and the needle goes in there, and Bob's your uncle. It's working. I'm very pleased about that. So what remains is to strip it right down as far as I can get it, because I did have a pop at this one, but because I would like to get this arm out to clean it up and maybe even repaint it. But well, for now it's a working sewing machine, sort of, and I can strip it down, clean everything up, which is not an insignificant amount of work, but I'm looking forward to doing it.